Yes. All right. Now we are continuing our quest for knowledge and happiness and truth and meaning and responsibility in the world. And how do we get it? By learning the words of the Moshiach. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, he is the Moshiach of our generation, and these are his words. This is a speech that the Lubavitcher Rebbe gave in 1991. And we remember we learned this topic before, and it's a beautiful topic, and it's worth learning all the time. And that is to stress and to repeat and to try to, how do you say, impress upon us that this world is a really very good place. But it's hidden. This world is a wonderful, precious place. So we just finished learning in Likutei Torah. This world is like a diamond, but it's covered with dirt and it's covered with all sorts of other things that we can't see it. And the whole world, everything in the world is precious, and everything, every detail in the world, even, God forbid, the difficulties. Nobody wants difficulties, and difficulties are difficulties. They're not good. Nevertheless, those are also somehow or other, how it's going to be, we don't know. We've talked about this, but they're good. Everything that God creates is good. Some things are good because we avoid them. They have to be avoided, right? Drugs, stealing, murder, all the 10 commandments. Don't kill, right? Don't commit all these sexual crimes. There's a tremendous desire to do these things. What's the good of that? To avoid it. If you avoid it, you stand against your desires, your lusts, your urges. Then you become different from an animal. An animal has to follow its urges. It has to follow its lusts, has no choice. It can't defy its nature, an animal. A human being can defy its nature and defy nature totally. So bad things, the things that are bad, that are forbidden in the world, what's the good of them? That when we avoid them, we activate our power of defiance. That's tremendous. That we make ourselves different from an animal. So everything in the world is good. But how do we reveal what's good and what's bad? How do we avoid the bad things and defy them from what? Who says they're bad? Who says what's bad? Who says there's anything that's bad? Maybe the only good thing is just to feel good, and the only thing that's bad is to make other people not feel good. Who knows? So he says that's what we have the Torah for. The Torah puts light into the world, puts meaning into the world, puts a challenge into the world. And people don't like that. And that's one that we just finished talking about. We just finished the Holocaust Day, right? Every Holocaust Day. But nobody really, at least I haven't seen it, asked the question, why did the Nazis hate the Jews? Why is there anti-Semitism? What's going on? What's anti-Semitism? Hate all the Jews? I mean, do you know all the Jews? All the Jews hate the Jews. Just the fact he's a Jew, that's already bad. He's guilty until proven innocent. And you can't prove him innocent. There's nothing you can prove him. Maybe he's different, a little bit different, right? In Germany, they killed the guy, people killed their next door neighbors, they killed their best friends. This guy was Jewish, that's it. He was finished. When he was out. Why?
Jealousy.
What happened?
Jealousy.
Why were they looking over the world? For certainly not jealousy. They killed old ladies. They killed the people that are hiding, and they killed Jews that denied they were Jews. They had no Jewish identity whatsoever. And the answer is because they hated God. Jews are God's people, and they hate God. And Jews are God's people, and they hate God. And because they hate God, so what did they like? You see, murder. They murdered millions, tens of millions of people, murdered with great joy, with great expertise, and with tremendous enthusiasm. And they were willing to die in order just to go out and kill people. Nothing better than bombing and blowing up and killing and torturing. And the greatest thing in the world. The communists were worse. The communists were, how many people he killed just to kill them, right? And kill the people. And there, the Judaism was like hidden a little bit. It wasn't so, blatant. But nevertheless, what was the reason? Because hating God is hating life. And that's the point. It's hating life. And temporarily, it seems, what do you mean hating life? I love life. I'm going out and I'm shooting and I'm going and I'm running. I'm staying awake 10 days in a row, just going and killing people and this. That's being alive, right? Isn't that being alive? It says no.
They weren't scared of God.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay. After with the class, then we can all ask questions or whatever, or you can write notes or something. Bekesher in Medubar Lachrona, in class, in connection to what we said before. See, if it was a classroom situation, then you could see everybody would see everybody else. Then it would be good because then everybody is separate. But when one person speaks, it takes up the whole entire thing. So it's sort of difficult to deal with. Okay. Unless somebody has a pressing question or something like that, they have to, you can understand. But usually pressing questions require, long answers, and sometimes people don't want to listen. Anyway, just whatever. That's why I wanted everybody to be muted. And then afterwards, we'll ask questions 100%. I love questions. Even if I don't have the answers. Questions are great. All right, so that's what the Rebbe is talking about. Fixing up the world in order to reveal that the world is really good. Here we go. Bekesher im medubar acharona, connection to what we said before, orot, about the geula amitit v'shlema, talking about the total and future redemption of the world. And again, just to stress, what does it mean, the total redemption of the world? That the world simply becomes a healthy, functioning place. The world can get along without any addictions and without depression and without wars and without famines and without disease. The world can get along really good without those things. In fact, the world can only get along good without those things. And that's at least the first step of the Gula. That's what we want. A world that simply functions properly, that goes according to the the creator's instructions, the manufacturer's instructions. And that's what it means, the Geula. Geula means redemption, release of all the potential good in the world will be released. All the potential talents and abilities and, and qualities and love, which are in every human being, will be released. We're waiting for this geula to happen every day. That we hope that it should come any second now. Like it says in the laws of the Noder, that says it says, a person that makes a vow that he will never drink wine on the day that the Moshiach comes, right? If I make a vow, I will not drink wine on the day that Mashiach comes. On that day, I'm not going to drink wine. Every other day, yeah, but not other day. When can I drink? It's forbidden to drink wine forever. Why? Because immediately the Mashiach should be here. Any second. And it could be that the Mashiach already arrived, Jerusalem or Tiberia, wherever it's supposed to be, and that it says that the Sanhedrin is going to start in Tiberia. Says that if a person makes a vow, the day Mashiach comes, I will not drink wine, as you can't drink wine any day. Why?
770.
It's supposed to come all the time. What are we supposed to do in order to make this happen? Just sit around and wait for it to happen. First of all, yes, you are supposed to wait, 100%. You're supposed to wait. But on the other hand, waiting is not enough. Right? Don't give up. You're supposed to wait. But on the other hand, you have to do more. Matim litakev. So if so, let's delay over here the Ba'ir to explain what exactly is this geula. What exactly is going to happen in this future redemption? I sort of told you just now a little bit, but let's see how the Rebbe says it. We're supposed to be waiting for this redemption to come every moment. And it says that a person that makes a vow on the day Mashiach comes, I'm not going to drink wine. He can never drink wine because Mashiach is supposed to come any moment. What's the big deal? Why are we supposed to be waiting? Why should it be important? Let the religious people wait. Let somebody else wait. Let the Rebbe wait. What do I have to wait for? It's good enough that one person waits and Mashiach comes and he'll let everybody know. He says, no, that's not right. Everyone should be waiting because it's relevant to every person. Then we can understand. When we understand what this idea of Mashiach is and what redemption is, then it'll be easier to understand what exactly is the expected of us in order to speed up the Havia to bring this redemption. How we should prepare for what's going to happen. What should we do? There used to be rabbis that used to have a suitcase prepared with garments for Shabbat. When Mashiach comes, they'll be all ready. That's a nice thing, but is that sufficient? The main thing is usually the content of a thing is contained in its name. And its name, right? An automobile, because it moves on its own. A bicycle, it has two wheels. Bicycle, two wheels. Usually things can be, right? A lot of times things can be expressed by the name of the thing. Cain was also benogea the geula. Also, this idea of geula, nitan lekabel musaf. We can have a little bit of idea what is we're waiting for. What is this thing that's so desperately necessary and vital to our existence? Namely, that there has to be a geula. How let's examine the name of the thing. He'd born in bishmo geula. Geula, inyana geula, the whole idea of geula, mitsuyan b'torah, it's found in the Torah, but bituim shonim in different ways. Hechil, first of all, in the language of geula, well, it's written in Parshas Va'era. We had it in Shemot. This corresponds also to the 4 cups of wine that are drunk on Passover, according to these 4 languages of geula. Hotzeti, hitzalti, ga'alti, v'lakachti. It says the 4 expressions of geula. Even though only one of them says geula, but there's called the 4 expressions of geula. God said, I will take you out of Egypt, I will save you, I will redeem you, and I will take you to me. And there's a 5th language also, Heviti, and I will bring you to the land. It says, even though that all these languages, these expressions, they are all meaning the same thing, going out of Egypt from exile. But yes, there's one of them is the word geula. And the word geula has a special, is more commonly used to refer to the future redemption, the geula shalema, go'al Yisrael, that we say, go'al Yisrael, he redeemed the Jewish people, go'al. Yeshlom, we can say shebegalala malazu, therefore all the redemptions, and especially the geula mitit v'shalema, are called geula. Even though they could be called any of these other languages, but geula. What does geula mean? Davka geula achron, and especially the last redemption that we're going to have now, from this terrible 2,000 years of exile that we've been in, since the destruction of the Second Temple. This is going to be a geula miti, the true geula, true redemption, with a hashlema, the hey, the ultimate redemption, ha geula. Geula v'hashlem. Kaven shed milazu, because this word geula, namely this whole idea of the revelation Mashiach is going to bring, this expresses the the true content of what's going to be in the true ultimate redemption that Mashiach is going to come. What does it mean? Why? The mila geula, the word geula, we see something very amazing. Geula is the same letters as gola. The word gola means exile. Galut, like it says gola l'shechin, gola l'bavel shechin imam, gola. Gola means exile. Gola is the worst. That's this exile that we're in. It's like a comatose state that the Jewish people and the whole world is like in this. It's like a terrible dream that we're in. Elabet Tosefes ALEF. Like it says in the Midrash, Shamila Gola, this word Gola, it is in the prophecy over there of Zechariah. The prophecy of Zechariah says that God, right? Zechariah, is it? Well, let's have a look over here. One moment. Zechariah, yeah, the prophecy of Zechariah. And it's one of the Haftorahs that I think it's on Chanukah. It says that God says that he showed Zechariah this vision. And it says there was like a candelabra, whatever the candelabra, and there was a gola al rosha. So the simple meaning of a gola means that there was like this bowl on the top, and there was oil in the bowl. Gola is a bowl. But there's also, it says the word gola also refers to something what? Something different. What does it refer to? Some people say that it refers to gola as talking about, there's two amoras. One of them says that it's talking about gola al rosho, that God is showing to Zechariah, the prophet, the exile. And
Hey, Bolton,
what?
Paul is waiting.
1 minute, 1 minute. Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, I have to turn this thing up. This thing, I'm sorry, Paul. Go. So it says that God showed Zechariah this vision of a menorah, like a candle with a gola on the top, a bowl. But the word gola also means something else. According to one opinion, this is a prophecy, right? So God is showing Zechariah something very meaningful. He's not just showing him, pictures of things. He's showing him something very meaningful. What's he showing? He says, according to one opinion, this gola is the exile. According to the other opinion, gola is the future redemption. One, it says gola, and the other one says geula. That's what this bowl represents in the vision of Zechariah. It's known, the explanation that there's a Tosfos. So gola means exile. How can you get from that? The word gola means exile. That's what it means. How in the world do you get from the word geula, redemption, from that? Right? That's not what the word is. So it says because it's known that the word it's known. Abir said the explanation. Shetosvos ALEF. Let me get my pointer over here. That the additional ALEF, Sha'al Yado, that by means of it is made a gola. Kai, this refers the geula. You put an ALEF into the word geula. This refers to the ALEF. Just one little letter, ALEF. But it makes a big change. This refers to Alufo Shel Olam. Alufo Shel Olam is the master of the world, God. What's the difference between a person that's in a coma, total coma, and a person that's awake? No difference. I mean, quantitative difference, there's no difference. Quantitative, it doesn't weigh more. I mean, I don't. And a person that's in a coma doesn't weigh anymore. There's nothing added to him than a person that wakes up from a coma. To that degree, even a dead person and a live person. I don't think that a live person weighs more than a dead person. I know you can check it out. And it says that a live person is heavier. It says that. You just put a soul into it, but the soul is a tremendous qualitative difference. Tremendous qualitative difference. But a person is in a coma. He's got no personality. He has no activity. You put the ALEF in there. Their microphone is open, and the other voice is coming through. Please close your microphone. Al Yedei Avodas Shel Yehudi, by means of the service of a Jew in Galus, in the Gola, and that's our job, is to bring this ALEF, to bring the life, to bring godliness, to bring the Creator in the creation. How? By means of the Torah. And that puts the ALEF into Gola. So you bring the Alufo Shel Olam, the master of the world, into the Galus, then that becomes Geula. No big deal. No big deal. Not such a big change. Right? It's just like taking a person that's dead and making him alive. Not such a big thing. You don't have to, bring, diamonds or things like that. Just put a soul into him. Well, it's, that's not so easy. If you would say you have to bring like 5,000 tons of, of whatever it is, of water or, the vitamin C or something like that, that would be a lot easier than putting life into them. How do you put life into a person, right? How do you do it? Where do you get it from? Where does it come from? In life, you could find, water, or vitamin C tablets, or whatever those you can find. It'll be very difficult, but you could at least find it, right? Make the person, but want to make Uncle Joe come back to. You have to get an operation. It's going to cost $50 million. You can get $50 million. It's just no problem. Just put life into it. You don't want to pay the 50, just put life. You don't have to pay anything for it. You get it for free. Here, everybody gets life for free. Give it to him. How are you going to do that? Right? That's what the Rebbe is saying. It's a qualitative difference. It's something that putting the ALEF means putting godliness, putting life into this dead, comatose world. But it's how are you going to do it? It's a very simple process. But what do we do? Says the Rebbe, I'm going to tell you, I'll explain it. Don't get excited. L'cheora, at first glance, it's not understood. Geula this idea of the redemption is the opposite of galus. Huh? It's like saying the letters of dead and alive are the same letters, dead and alive. The only difference is the word alive, there's just an I in it. And the word death, there's no I in it. What are you talking about? It's a totally different things. Dead is different letters and everything, right? And alive. The same thing. You think of the world, exile is like the world is dead. Exile, that's Gola. That's the word exile. And Geula is a totally different thing. It's the opposite. How can it be? What do we talk? How can it be that? No, it's the same thing. Just put in a little aleph. If so, how can it possibly be that the Geula has in it the letter, the same thing as Galut, huh? As exile, Gola. Right? It's like taking a person that was dead, it was at a coma, and every time you see him, you say, "Oh man, how are you doing? I still remember you laying there dead, cadaver." Right? I still remember that cadaver. Every time I see you, I just think of that. That's not a nice thing to say, right? You see a person that was dead, you give him artificial respiration. He comes back and says, "Oh wow, everything I see you, I see how you're all, blue, and you're dead, and you're not breathing. Wow, this is great. What a pleasure." What are we talking about? Forget it. You're seeing a live person. You're saying, "Well, I'm so happy to see you." You don't see death. When you look at a living person, you don't see death. It says, how is it that the future redemption is 4/5, 5 of the letters, but 4 of the 5 letters are Gola or exile. Rova Osios, the majority of the letters of Geula, of the future redemption, they are exile. Huh? So the Geula must be a pretty miserable thing. You're always going to be thinking about all the bad things that happen, and all the 4/5 of it is the bad. All you have to do is put the letter ALEF inside of it, and that makes the whole thing brand new, changes it all around. How could it possibly be? Says the Rebbe, okay, listen, you have to understand what's going on here. The Rebbe is going to say that this ALEF that you put in it, it's not just an addition that you add something quantitatively or even qualitatively. It changes the whole thing totally. It brings out the true purpose of what was going on. Let's see in a second. Geula, the redemption, doesn't mean that by means of going out from exile, maznichim, that we leave life. All of a sudden we go to heaven. It's a different thing. No. Hapulos, va'olam, all the things that we did in the world that was before in exile, forget it. No. Adarabah. Geula, the idea of the future redemption, means that we remain who we are and we remain what we are, but we just reveal a whole new dimension in our life that makes everything previously tremendously meaningful. That which was before, mishuberet begalut, that was before connected to exile, now becomes revealed. So if you were married, you stay married, but the bad things will go away. Because why do people do bad things? Why do people get addicted? Why do people are living lustful lives in lust? They're decadent and things like that because they don't think there's any meaning in life. The life is empty. And because of this emptiness, so they go and they do all these bizarre LGBT things and these crazy stuff that people are doing. It just comes from the people are empty. They don't think that God exists. They don't think that if he does, he doesn't care. And if he cares, he doesn't care about me. Whatever it is, people don't have any meaning in their life. So if so, the whole thing is just a big mistake. It's a big mistake. The gula mitis shlema is shakol mishtachrer. Everything becomes free. Suddenly love becomes true love. Connection becomes true connection. Meaning becomes true meaning. Life becomes true life. Lo yotiru shum inyan begalus. Nothing will remain in exile. Nothing will remain under the cloak of ignorance. Everything will be used properly. Afilu nidachim ba'ovdim. Even those Jews that are pushed away and that they are lost, that the Torah says that they're called nidachim ba'ovdim. And the prophecy of Isaiah also. Yigal, everything will be redeemed. Geula tiyeh geula mitit v'shlema b'kamut u'be'echut. Whether in quantity and in quality, and everything that there is, everything will be changed. but it won't be changed in the sense that it'll be different than what it was. It'll be changed in the sense that we'll see things will become alive. Like it says about the Torah, a new Torah. Not one word of the Torah will be changed. It'll just become alive. We'll see the life and the godliness and everything. Mi'aklala gadol, from the fact, which is Shebe'em, ad prat, the smallest detail in every single Jew. Na'arenu bizkenenu, our sons, our daughters, our children, everyone, gan chelko ba'olam, everything in the world, kasbam b'zava mitam, our gold, our silver, our properties, everything that we've done, all the achievements that we've occurred, Geula, the redemption, Tishtachrir, will free every single person and every human being, even the non-Jews, Kol Inyani Olam, everything in the world, each and everything will become free and meaningful. Kol Inyanim, everything that's now presently in exile, Nisharim, will remain, Gamhala, even in the future. It's not that there won't be any more business and there won't be any more the schools, there won't be any more houses, there won't be any more children and families. Exactly the opposite. All those things will be it'll just, all these things won't be in exile anymore. Shemit batel ha'olam helam v'hester, there will be negated the concealment that covers over the true existence of the world. Vashivu the darkei teva, agashmis olam mishtalish al. Something like we had atomic power, right? You could use atomic power to destroy, and you can also use atomic power for good, right? Whichever one you want to, you can use it. If you use it for bad, that's awful. It just destroys things. It's really terrible. But if you use it for good, it's wonderful, right? It's a really very good, positive thing. But it's the same atomic power, and you can do the same things with it, whatever you want to do with it. Just use that power for good. God created the world. The world is good, but it has to be used in the proper way. Rambam, like the Rambam says, Allah ya ALEF, you shouldn't rise up. We just finished learning this. It shouldn't rise up in anybody's thought that in the days of the Moshiach, that the world will change, nature will change, or there'll be some sort of a new real revelation in nature. But the world will be conducted in a normal way. Homer Chachamim says there's no difference between this world and the days of the Mashiach, except for the Shibud Malchut. The Jewish people won't be under the rulership of strange governments. In other words, the Jews will be allowed and free to do whatever they want. And what is it?
There won't be any.
Please.
Won't be any more illness.
What does a Jew want? Every Jew wants to do what God wants. There won't be any more Shibud Malchus alone.
And illness.
That's when the Jews do what they're supposed to, then the whole world will be free from all negative things. Then the novelty will be everyone will return to believe in the true religion. What's the true religion? The religion that God gave on Mount Sinai. The attack on Olam, the whole world will be finished. This is the language of the Rambam, Maimonides. The whole world will be finished. Mashiach will fix up the whole world. La'avodat Hashem, to serve God together. Like it says, then will be transformed on the people to the world. Safa Barura, a clear language, Likros Kulam, that all of them will call the name of God alone. Only to God. An interesting thing, the Rambam also says that in those days that there will be, everything will be in plenty. All of the fine things of the world, the finest foods, the finest cars, they'll be plentiful. It says they'll be like dirt. So the question, of course, is asked, well, that's what we'll care about. Mashiach is going to come, right? We're going to care about having nice cars and nice things. I mean, that's the exile stuff. What do we care about that? You have a car. What difference does it make type of a car? You will have food. Whatever. No, it'll be the best food in the world. So it explains why. It means because we don't really understand or appreciate what it means to serve God. That we have the opportunity to do what God wants. That's an amazing, amazing gift. And anything that disturbs us from doing what God wants is I say, removing us from this gift. So therefore, in the time of Mashiach, there won't be anything lacking. Like you say, Menachem, there won't be any more sicknesses, there won't be any more the disturbances, there won't be any more anger, all these things that prevent and confuse people from being able to serve the creator of the universe, they won't be anymore. But serving the creator of the universe doesn't mean you're going to stand there and pray all day. It means you'll have a family, you'll have a job, everything will be the same way. But just everything, the world will be exactly the way it is. But the leaders of the world and the governments of the world will only do everything possible to enhance Jewish service of God, and eventually the whole world. It says the whole world will only be interested in knowing God, just like the world now is interested in pleasure or whatever they're interested in, right? The world will be interested only in the source of pleasure. But how do we get this whole business? According to this, now we can understand why the word geula enclosed in it consists mainly of the word gola, because the whole essence of the future redemption is just to put a little bit of light into this world, but not to change the world, to see what the world is really about, that it's a creation of God and that God wants us to use it properly. But Tosafos ALEF, it's an exile. All there is exile is just an additional ALEF. Geula eno mevatelet. The exile, the redemption does not negate the world. Adarab, exactly the opposite. Ha-geula, the whole idea of geula, of the future redemption, that's what happens. That's why it goes, because if I negate this thing, then my pointer goes away. That's why there's the pointer. Okay, what can we do? That it's concealed. Okay. Gola, al yedei, by means of this, you just have to reveal in the world, the gola, the exile, the ALEF, godliness, that there's a king of the world. By means of this, you remove all of the concealment and the hiding and the exile, hamachasim, the cover over, hametziutam tachlit amitit. Megalim et alufo, you reveal the king of the universe in the universe. Said, this is that reveals that the purpose of this world and everything that we misused in the world, that's called exile, it was created by God. And when we reveal this, then we start to use it properly, and then it becomes geula. We're free from the bad things because we see the good things. Geula is a giloi aleph, aluf v'shel olam. Gola, giloi emet, the penimiut, the calling in the galus. The whole idea of geula, gola, is the exile, and revealing geula is revealing why there was an exile, why God made it that way, that everything was, why there was sickness, why there was trouble, why there was, suddenly everything will be revealed. Call a pu'ulot, everything that we did in the time of the exile, giloi elokus, there will be revealed godliness in everything in the world as it was. The kavodo will reveal the glory of God. Shakol mashabor, everything that God created in the world, He only created for His glory, the glory of the Creator of the universe. We'll see it. Of course, any normal person should be asking here, what are you talking about? I mean, you have any idea of the horrors that occurred in the Holocaust? Even thinking about it, the terrible things that were done, the awful tortures that were done to millions of people in public. They were even recorded and filmed. And you want to tell me that somehow or other that was good? How was that good? That is an impossible thing to say. That is a blasphemous thing to say, that those things were good. How could that pain of so many people be good? How could it possibly be good? So the answer is you're right, 100%, it's right. But it's going to happen. How is it going to happen? We'll see. But the fact is that everything that's in the exile and everything that occurred in the exile, we'll see, if for no other reason than those people that suffered, they suffered only because they were Jews. They suffered, they were willing to pay the ultimate price to show how valuable it is to be a Jew. Right? They refused to deny their Judaism. Of course, Hitler didn't give them much of a chance to deny that. But the fact of the matter is, even afterwards, the Jews that got out of this, they were against Judaism. But they refused to deny their Judaism. I'm a Jew. Maybe, who knows? I'm not trying to explain anything. but nevertheless, it will be explained somehow or other. Even the worst things, it says Odecha ki anafta, somehow or other it'll be made sense of. The Lubavitcher Rebbe wrote in his diary that I'm sorry, I said this before and I make the same mistake all the time. The Rebbe wrote a letter to the president of Israel, and he said that before I went to Cheder, I guess before he was 3 years old, he already had it woven in his mind how Moshiach is going to come and make sense of all the suffering of the Jews. That'll be something amazing. Okay, now let's do the Yom Yom. Yom Yom, we have a couple of notes over here. 1 second. Mashiach now, yes. Do you mean that Klal Yisrael will still need jobs, turn Parnasa, and study Torah? No, there will still be work. People work. There's some people that can't learn Torah all the time, and some people that exactly the opposite. Seeing godliness in business in some ways is even greater than seeing it in the Torah. Seeing godliness in the world, the mysteries of God in the world, in some ways are even deeper than the mysteries of the Torah. Ateya dea razei olam, says the razei olam, the Alter Rebbe said, the razei olam, the secrets of the world are greater than the secrets of the Torah. So there'll still be business, people still have to eat. People are not going to walk on the streets and just pick up, loaves of bread or something like that. And if they did pick up loaves of bread, they probably wouldn't eat them because you don't know what hechsher it is, whose bread was it, maybe.
Okay, we will have to work. We'll have to work.
There will still be work, but you won't have to work you won't get fired from your job, and everything will be meaningful that you do, and it'll be a pleasure. Listen, between us, one of the worst things in the world is to not work. There were this couple in Kfar Chabad, I remember, really nice people. I knew them very well. I don't have to say their name, but anyway, they had the hardware store over here. They got older and older in the hardware store, and it was harder and harder for them to work in the hardware store, and they would forget what you wanted, and they would call on like 50. In any case, so somebody offered them a good price, and they sold the hardware store. It was a very short time afterwards, a month or whatever, that they both, one of them, the man at least, he fell sick and he passed away. And his wife wasn't that much afterwards that she sort of, because a person, when he works, he has a reason to wake up in the morning and he meets people and he's helping people. What's the idea of business? What's the evil of capitalism, of communism? They want to deal with capitalism. Capitalism, at least you meet people, you're providing people's needs. A person comes and says, do you have a screwdriver? Yes, I do. You're providing for their needs. If the government provides everything, so everyone is like animals. It's just like, you open up the trough, you sound that everybody.
What about
you go into the store, you get the person, you talk to the person. Once I remember a person called me up and he said he's got a terrible job. He works in a hardware store and his whole life is meaningless and everything like that. So I said to him, I learned this from Professor Viktor Frankl. I said, listen, you're in a hardware store, you meet people, right? He said, yeah, I meet people, but I wanted to be a lawyer or whatever, a psychiatrist or whatever. So I said, listen, you can still go to school in the nighttime, you can still be a psychiatrist. You need money, but maybe you can do more than being a lawyer. You meet people. You can throw a word of Torah, you can say a pleasant word, you can say good morning, you can smile. Sometimes a good morning can save a person's life. You can talk to a person. Sometimes a person, wants to talk, say something, say something, I got big problems. And you can give a little piece of advice. You can tell a joke, something, make it. And he said, wow, I didn't think about that. You got a good point. And afterwards he said, you don't know what you did. You helped me out tremendously. Everything, I was looking forward every day to go in and work on the job. So everything you do, Viktor Frankl writes that sometimes the janitor in a hospital makes more people healthy than the biggest brain surgeons, because the brain surgeon operates on a person like a mechanic, like an auto mechanic, he knows what the laws. And the janitor, because how are you feeling today, Mr. Smith? How you doing? Well, you look good. Oh, I see your family came. What a beautiful family you got. Well, I feel so happy for you. You can say a good word. And just the fact that he cleans up the floors and makes the place clean, that could do more than this. So everything we do you can find meaning in it. And that's what Mashiach is going to do, that he'll put meaning in everything, even in the jobs that we do. Now let's do the Yom Yom.
I thought there's going to be a surplus of money.